Let's talk about zombies, or specifically one feature from World at War that never came back. It was a feature that I really liked, and this feature was just how dangerous it was to use the wonder weapons. And you might think I'm crazy for liking a feature like that so much, but hear me out. World at War had two wonder weapons. There was the ray gun, which had incredibly high splash damage that would kill you in one shot. One misplaced shot and your game would be over. And then there was the Wunderwaffe. Now it also had splash damage, but what you wanted to worry about more was how it lowered your maximum health every time you took splash damage, slowly whittling it down until it only took one hit to down you. Now, in a game like Zombies, the only thing that keeps it from getting boring is what I like to call risk and reward systems. Basically, for every reward you receive, there has to be a risk that comes with it, and with every risk you take, there must be a reward. For example, to buy perks, weapons, doors, etc., you need to spend your points. Or, to get to a higher round, you have to fight tougher zombies. And this is important because if the game was all reward and no risk, it would be mindless and boring, but if it was all risk and no reward, it would be difficult and frustrating. And so the reason I liked it when the wonder weapons could very easily kill you is because it gave you more to think about. You had to think before firing your shots. You couldn't mindlessly fire them or you would end up downing yourself. And every time you made a mistake with these wonder weapons and didn't respect their power, it would punish you for it. And the responsibility that comes with using those weapons meant that when you got them out of the box, it would be exciting to have finally received such a rare and powerful weapon, but also intimidating because it might just kill you with everything else. But sadly, this is something that never really came back after World at War. There are a couple instances when it kind of did, like the Sliquifier's slippery effect on die rise, but it was very controllable and not nearly as big of a risk. Some weapons were just less efficient than other weapons, but that's not the wonder weapon actively working against you, that's the wonder weapon just not being as good as others. But for the most part, a lot of the wonder weapons have become easy to acquire and easy to use. It doesn't take much effort, it's just a pull of the trigger and everything dies. The worst offender of course being things like the lightning bow and the Apothicon Servant. Even the ray gun and the Wunderwaffe got nerfed in later games in order to be easier and more mindless to use. And also, it's just incredibly fitting for these weapons to be dangerous. Nothing says experimental weaponry like a weapon that's also gonna kill you. Now listen, I don't think every wonder weapon needed to be just as dangerous to use. In fact, if we had a bunch of dangerous ones, the less dangerous ones would be even more fun to use. Especially if they saved it for the last DLC in a game. But now if we look at Black Ops 4, Voyage of Despair comes with the Kraken, a weapon that fires literal cannonballs and doesn't do any splash damage at all. There are no consequences for using it wrong. There isn't even a way to use it wrong. So, by the time you get to Ancient Evil, how have you gone up from the Kraken? The hands are great and all, but what sets it apart from the Kraken? We've already had ultimate killing machines, so yes, they work a little differently, but they don't have much individual character. Which is why it makes me sad that they never really went back to this philosophy of making the most powerful weapon the most dangerous to use. Like yes, it can be fun to use these ultimate killing weapons with no repercussions, but for the sake of long-term replayability, and making these weapons more memorable, I think it would have been better if they were just as dangerous to you as they were the zombies.